All right, let's talk some football. Now, I saw Urban Meyer. I'm more of an NFL guy than a college football guy, but I'm wondering
You're more of an Oscar Mayer guy.
I'm wondering, what am I missing here? There's a speculation that should Jim Harbaugh be suspended in the NFL for something he did in college football. And I can't even connect the dots on this. That would be like, la, 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 connect the dots. I can't even connect the dots Pee Wee Herman style. I can't even think about how this makes sense. Meaning, that would be like if I worked at Walgreens, work at a drugstore, and I got fired. And then I worked at Chipotle. And Chipotle wanted to punish me for something I had done when I worked at Walgreens. I don't get how you would equate the University of Michigan to the Los Angeles Chargers.
It's the same sport, but I agree. Unless I am convinced otherwise. See, I'm very much in the middle of this one, to be honest, because I heard you and Danny G going back and forth, but it's the same sport, but to me, completely different things.
Yeah, let's hear it, Danny. I don't even know the other side of this argument. I can't even fathom it.
I mean, should he be suspended by the NFL? That it seems kind of ridiculous, except for the fact there's precedent here. And Jim Tressel was fined, right, and suspended. Or did he was fired?
He was fired by Ohio State because of the tattoo scandal that occurred at the school. Part of the NCAA's punishments were a ban for Tressel, who is no longer in the college game. His next job was with the Colts as a replay assistant, an analyst sort of job. Not only did he serve a 6-game suspension, Terrell Pryor, who was a part of that scandal as well, ended up being drafted by Danny's Raiders and served a 5-game suspension at the start of his NFL career because of the penalties that were handed down in college. That's where the precedent is.
It's really interesting that there is a precedent because in my mind, legally, I would imagine good luck trying to enforce that. I mean, again, what you're saying makes sense. I'm not doubting the credibility and thoughts of what Dan Beyer said, but to me, Covino, that would be like if you did something terrible here at Fox Sports Radio and Scott Shapiro and Don Martin and Julie and everyone's like, Covino, you're fired. Or you just left and they found out, Covino was cheating the whole time or doing something at Fox Sports. And then you got hired by NBC Sports.
They're not going to suspend me.
Yeah, like he was cheating on Last One Standing.
Yeah, like if you like.
I was accused of that. I was insulted.
When you, I
but
can't
Danny G
imagine
made a solid point off the air, and Danny G, I'll just say it, and you could back it up. You said something along the lines of, "Yeah, but that's also to prevent other college coaches from doing illegal things, knowing they could still get promoted into the NFL.
I think it's a good
Remember,
escape plan.
he was investigated and penalized.
There shouldn't be an escape plan for
scouting and sign stealing, and he was going rogue in college football.
Right.
In the back of his mind, he's probably thinking, "What happens? They suspend me? I don't care. I'll go back to the NFL." And that's what Danny G was explaining. Like there should be a precedent set that hey, you can't do it on this level, and then think you could just go away and avoid the penalties.
And even though it's not the NFL, Rich, it is, in essence, the minor leagues to the NFL. So the two are related. You can't say, oh, Walmart and Target or whatever your example was. That's not a correct analogy.
There's also a timing thing of it as well, where before the penalty is handed out, the person has already left or has been dismissed from their job and has moved on to another one. So like Harbaugh took the Chargers job, has been there for a year and a half now, and we didn't finally come to find out what the penalties were until recently.
You know what that would be like? It would be like an ex-girlfriend of mine finding out that I cheated on her at spring break. Meanwhile, I'm married with children, she's married with children, it's 20 years later, and me being held accountable, well, when you were in Acapulco with Covino, I know what you did. It's like, yeah, it's 20 years later.
This wasn't 20 years later, though.
But I'm just saying, it's just... if I'm Jim Harbaugh, I'd be laughing at this. Are you kidding me? I'm the head coach of the Chargers. Beat it, college kiddos.
Yeah, you said something that this makes sense, and I don't think anybody thinks that it does, but it happened before. Just like I don't think people thought it made sense 15 years ago when this happened. And here's the other thing with it. Jim Tressel lost his job. Jim Harbaugh didn't lose his job at Michigan. He just went and took another one that put him in the NFL.
That's the other thing with that line of thinking, though, right? He would have been fined and suspended in college, right?
Yes.
So you're saying, well, he should be suspended
He got
then
ahead
in the
of
NFL.
it. Give him credit for getting ahead of it.
If someone got fired for doing that, right? What are you going to say? They can't ever get hired again because they were fired from the previous job? If the previous job matters and this guy was fired, then with that line of thinking, he should never be hired again.
Well, you're right. And what was crazy with the Tressel thing was not only was he fired, but then he was still suspended because of what went on, even though I would say that losing your job was probably punishment enough.
This happens in boxing and UFC once in a while. Ryan Garcia was drunk or on drugs or something, allegedly. Who knows? Remember he said some terribly racial stuff on like an Instagram Live and sort of lost it a little bit. Remember Ryan Garcia? And then there was accusations of drugs when he fought who?
When he fought
Ryan Garcia. Remember?
Well, it wasn't Tank because he was emaciated in that fight. Who the hell did he fight?
Remember Ryan Garcia won?
Garcia, then
Who did he beat?
in between Romero. Who did he fight? I forget.
He beat someone that he wasn't expected to beat. Come on, you're the boxing guy.
I don't know, man. I forget.
We were at the fight.
He was on Osterine. Who did he fight?
Anyway, point was Ryan Garcia.
He had like a small, tiny percentage of Osterine in his system. Devin Haney, he annihilated Devin Haney.
And then when he got suspended from boxing, I remember the speculation was like, all right, he'll just fight the UFC or go do something else or fight on another card. People do that all the time. Like, you get fired, you get in trouble. Yeah, you leave, you try to get ahead of it and go somewhere else.
I feel like in the past, college coaches, and I'm struggling to come up with an example, but I feel like it has happened. College coaches will leave their old program in the dust, and then there's like repercussions that come out, and then they just go to the NFL and they just go on their merry way and do their job
Pete
in the
Carroll,
NFL.
yeah. I mean, Pete
there
Carroll.
you go. That's the one.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dan.